Have you ever noticed how everyone talks about retirement as if it's the golden ticket? People say, "Oh, once you retire, life will be easy. No more alarm clocks, no more long workdays, no more stress." And yes, that part is true, you finally have time to breathe. But here's what most people don't talk about: sometimes, after the initial excitement fades, retirement can feel empty. Days that were once filled with routine, purpose, and connection can suddenly feel long, quiet, and lonely. You wake up and realize you don't have anywhere to be, no one expecting you, and sometimes that silence can be heavier than you imagined. If you've ever felt this way, please know you're not alone. Many people, after they stop working, experience a sadness they didn't expect. Some call it the retirement blues. Others just describe it as feeling stuck, unmotivated, or even invisible. It's a real challenge, and it can affect your mood, your health, and your sense of self. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay in that place. Retirement doesn't have to be the end of purpose, it can be the beginning of something new and deeply meaningful. That's what I want to share with you today. Together, we're going to explore 4 powerful ways to stay happy and purposeful in retirement, even if you're struggling right now. These aren't complicated things. They're simple shifts, practical steps that can help you bring back joy, energy, and meaning to your days. Let's start with the first one, and it's perhaps the most important: redefining what purpose means for you now. For decades, purpose may have been tied to your work, your career, your business, or even raising a family. Those roles gave you structure, identity, and daily motivation. When those roles change or end, it's natural to feel like a part of you is missing. But retirement isn't about losing purpose, it's about redefining it. Purpose doesn't always mean a job or paycheck, it can be found in the simplest moments. It could be volunteering at a local shelter, helping grandchildren with homework, tending to a garden, or even taking up painting or music. I once heard a story about a man who had been a manager at a large company for over 30 years. When he retired, he admitted he felt useless. He missed the meetings, the decisions, the feeling of being needed. His wife noticed his sadness and suggested he try volunteering at the local library. At first, he resisted, thinking, "That's not real work." But he gave it a try. Before long, he was helping children with their reading, organizing events, and even mentoring teens who needed guidance. He later said that this gave him more joy than his old career ever did. Why? Because he discovered that purpose isn't about titles, it's about contribution. It's about feeling that what you do matters to someone else. And that brings me to another important way to stay happy: building meaningful connections. Retirement can sometimes shrink your social circle. You no longer see coworkers every day, and sometimes friends move away, or their lives take different paths. That lack of connection can be a big reason why people feel lonely or even depressed after retiring. But the truth is, staying socially connected is just as important for your health as eating well or exercising. So how do you do it? You don't need a large crowd, you just need meaningful bonds. Maybe it's joining a walking group, a local club, or a faith community. Maybe it's reconnecting with old friends or making the effort to call your siblings more often. Even something as simple as having coffee with a neighbor once a week can lift your spirits more than you realize. Humans are wired for connection. When you share stories, laughter, or even just a quiet moment with someone who cares, it reminds you that you're not walking through life alone. Think about it: how many times have you felt low, and then one good conversation made everything feel lighter? That's the power of connection. It pulls you out of isolation and reminds you of the bigger picture. Now that we've touched on redefining your purpose and building meaningful connections, let's continue exploring more ways to protect your happiness and find fulfillment during this new season of life. One of the challenges of retirement is the sudden lack of structure. For years, your days were filled with routines: wake up, get ready, go to work, come home, repeat. Even if you didn't always enjoy it, that rhythm gave you a sense of direction. But in retirement, the structure disappears almost overnight, and you might find yourself asking, what now? That's why creating a new routine is one of the most powerful ways to stay happy and avoid falling into that empty feeling. Think about how children thrive on routine. They need bedtime rituals, school schedules, and daily rhythms because it gives them security and balance. Adults are no different. Having some kind of schedule, no matter how simple, can give you a reason to get up in the morning with energy instead of dragging yourself through the day. Maybe it's deciding that every morning you'll go for a 20-minute walk. Maybe after lunch you'll read for an hour, work on a puzzle, or practice a hobby. You don't have to plan every minute, but having anchors in your day can make you feel purposeful. I once spoke with a woman who said retirement hit her like a wave she wasn't prepared for. The first 6 months felt like a vacation, sleeping in, doing whatever she wanted, but soon, she started to feel restless and even sad. She admitted she felt like the days just blended into each other with no meaning. That's when she made herself a little schedule, walking in the park each morning, helping her granddaughter with schoolwork twice a week, and joining a knitting circle once a week. She said it transformed her days. Suddenly, she had things to look forward to, and the heaviness she felt began to lift. Routines don't have to be complicated, they just need to include things that bring you energy and joy. Which leads perfectly into another powerful way to stay happy in retirement: taking care of your body and mind. It's no secret that physical health and mental health are deeply connected. When you're active, your body releases endorphins, those natural, feel-good chemicals that fight sadness and boost your mood. That doesn't mean you have to run marathons or lift heavy weights. Simple activities like daily walks, light stretching, gardening, or dancing to your favorite music can do wonders. The key is to keep moving, because movement keeps not just your body, but also your spirit, alive. And just as important as moving your body is feeding your mind. Retirement gives you the gift of time, and one of the best uses of that time is learning something new. It could be a language, painting, playing an instrument, or even just exploring topics you've always been curious about. Your brain loves a challenge, it thrives on it. And when you learn, you give yourself not only knowledge but also a sense of accomplishment. That sense of progress is one of the best antidotes to depression. I remember hearing about a retired teacher who always loved music but never learned to play an instrument. At 68, she bought herself a keyboard and started taking lessons. She admitted she wasn't very good at first, but the joy she felt in practicing, in learning something brand new, lit her up from the inside. She said it gave her the same spark she used to feel when she was teaching. That's the magic of learning. It reminds you that growth doesn't stop at retirement, and that you still have so much to discover. So far, we've talked about creating a routine that gives your days structure and purpose, and about taking care of your body and mind to keep your energy and joy alive. Both of these can dramatically shift the way you feel about retirement. Now let's continue by looking at another key part of finding happiness in this new season of life, something that goes even deeper into the heart of what it means to feel purposeful. One of the deepest human needs is to feel useful, to feel like our presence in the world matters. During your working years, that sense of purpose often comes naturally. You contribute through your job, raise a family, maybe care for loved ones, or support your community. But when retirement arrives, many people suddenly feel stripped of that role. You might find yourself thinking, I've worked all my life, now what am I contributing? That quiet voice can creep in, and if it lingers too long, it can lead to sadness or even depression. That's why one of the most powerful ways to stay happy in retirement is to find a sense of meaning beyond work. And here's the beautiful part, you now have the freedom to decide what that looks like. For some, it's volunteering. Imagine walking into a community center and being greeted with smiles because the children know you're the one who helps with reading practice, or the seniors know you're there to play cards with them. Giving your time creates connection, and it reminds you that you're still making a difference. Others discover purpose through family. Being more present for your grandchildren, helping your adult children in small ways, or even sharing family traditions and stories that might otherwise be forgotten, these are powerful gifts. They may not appear on a resume, but they leave a mark that lasts for generations. Purpose can also be deeply personal. Maybe it's finally writing down the stories of your life, creating artwork, or even starting a small side project you always dreamed of. I once knew a retired mechanic who spent his afternoons restoring old bicycles, then quietly gave them to kids in his neighborhood who couldn't afford one. He told me, "Every bike I fix feels like I'm giving a child a little more freedom." That's purpose. It doesn't have to be grand or public, it just has to make you feel that what you do matters. Alongside purpose, there's another factor we cannot overlook: connection. Humans are social beings, no matter our age. Yet retirement can sometimes shrink your social world. Co-workers you used to see daily drift away, children get busy with their own lives, and suddenly your circle becomes smaller than you expected. Loneliness is one of the most common struggles for retirees, and it has been linked not only to depression but also to physical health issues. The good news is, connection doesn't have to fade, it can actually grow stronger. It just requires intention. Picking up the phone to call an old friend, joining a local club, or even attending a class just for fun can open doors to new friendships. And in today's world, technology offers another bridge. You might feel hesitant about things like video calls or social media, but many seniors find joy in using these tools once they give them a try. Seeing the faces of loved ones, even through a screen, is often enough to brighten a day. A friend of mine shared a story about her father, who felt isolated after retiring. His children encouraged him to try an online group that played chess. At first, he brushed it off, saying, "That's not for me." But eventually he gave it a try, and within weeks, he was logging in every evening, not just to play, but to chat with people from around the world. He told his daughter, "I didn't realize I could make new friends at 75. Turns out, I can." That one small step opened his world again. It's also worth mentioning that connection doesn't always mean surrounding yourself with lots of people. Sometimes it means finding just one or two relationships that feel meaningful. A trusted friend you can laugh with, a neighbor you can share a cup of tea with, or even a pet that keeps you company can provide the kind of companionship that protects against loneliness. When you weave these elements together, routine, self-care, purpose, and connection, you begin to see retirement in a new light. Instead of feeling like the end of your story, it becomes a fresh chapter, one you get to design for yourself. And here's the truth, happiness in retirement doesn't come from sitting still. It comes from staying engaged, with life, with people, and with yourself. If you've been struggling, if you've woken up some mornings feeling that heavy emptiness, I want you to know something important: you are not alone. Many people experience this transition. It doesn't mean you're weak, and it doesn't mean you've lost your spark forever. It simply means you're adjusting to a new way of living, and with small but steady steps, you can find joy again. Think of retirement as a garden. If left unattended, weeds grow, and it feels overrun. But if you plant seeds, new routines, new activities, new connections, slowly, you begin to see color, life, and beauty again. It may take time, but the harvest is worth it. Before we finish, let's take a moment to bring everything together. Retirement can make you feel depressed because it often removes structure, routine, and the identity you once tied to your work. But you can reclaim joy by building a new routine that excites you, by taking care of your body and mind so you feel strong, by discovering purpose in new ways, whether that's through family, volunteering, or personal projects, and by keeping your connections alive, both old and new. These 4 practices are not just tips, they're lifelines. Each one has the power to bring back light into your days, and when they come together, they create a retirement that isn't about fading away but about flourishing. So if you take nothing else from this conversation, take this. Your life still has incredible value. You still have dreams to chase, wisdom to share, and moments to create. Retirement is not the end of meaning, it's the beginning of a new kind of purpose, one that only you can define. If this message resonates with you, I encourage you to share your own story in the comments below. Have you found a routine or hobby that gives you joy? Have you discovered a new sense of purpose? Your experience might be the very encouragement someone else needs. And if you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel, so we can keep sharing conversations that remind you just how much life has to offer, at every age. Here's to living with purpose, joy, and connection, because no matter the number on your birthday cake, you still have so much light to shine.